It's a fantastic Friday edition of Inside Cowboys Training Camp, driven by Ford, as we welcome you back to Oxnard, California, site of Training Camp 2022. Alongside Rob Phillips and Britt Johnson, I'm Kyle Youmans. Glad you're with us. And this has been a physical camp, to say the least. Mike McCarthy talked about he wants to crank up the physicality. He wants to see what these guys are made of from a toughness standpoint, most notably on the defensive line, a very talented group, Rob, that, well, we've gotten a great look at early on.
Yeah, and in this type of situation now in the NFL, you only get so many padded practices. And I think guys are starting to get a little chippiness at practice. I think guys are looking ahead to Denver and those joint practices and then ultimately the preseason opener there. But it's an opportunity to get the pads on and get ready to play football. I mean, I'm about to date myself here in a minute, but back early 2000s in training camp, they were having two-a-day practices in pads. You only get a handful of these to really have true football, have that physicality, and they've got to take advantage of it, and I think guys have.
Well, let's put you on blast here a little bit more because that's what I like to do. How many training camps or what training camp is this for you?
This is 16.
Nice.
16. Okay, this is going to put my next question into perspective here. Out of the D-lines you've seen in the past, how does this D-line compare to those of past present?
I am really old, Britt.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. That's okay. No, I think that's a great question because I think it's a little bit different group than I've seen in the past. There have been lines in the last few years, maybe with more established guys who have made Pro Bowls, but this is a really versatile group. There's a lot of guys who can play on the edge, move inside. I'm thinking about DeMarcus Lawrence, the rookie Sam Williams, Chauncey Golston has moved back and forth, and Micah Parsons obviously kind of factors into that mix because he can play everywhere. They've got a lot of versatility, and they've got a nice mix of young guys and veteran guys. I mentioned Tank, and it's just a really versatile, balanced group that they're going to have a tough time deciding who plays where and who plays the most.
So now I want to put you in the GM shoes then. You talk about the tough decisions that are on the way for this defensive line group. They've invested a lot, especially with their youth up front and building that front seven. Who could be on the short end of the stick whenever the cuts start coming up here in the next couple weeks?
It's another great question because if you look at their roster last year, they've got about 10 defensive linemen. If you want to throw Micah in there as a utility guy, then maybe that's 11. And there's 16 in camp, I believe, right now, and there's at least a dozen guys you look at that say, oh, they definitely can make an NFL roster. I know some people wonder about Tristan Hill in the final year of his contract, former second-round draft pick, but he's out here making a lot of plays in pads. So I don't really know what the answer is. You hope the answer isn't there's injuries that make it easier to cut that roster down, but right now, that is the most competition in training camp.
16 years of expertise telling us exactly how things are going to play out here over these next couple of weeks. Rob Phillips joining us here on Inside Cowboys Training Camp. When we come back, I go one-on-one with Dak Prescott. What would a successful 2022 season look like for QB1 when we return with more Inside Cowboys Training Camp driven by Ford?
Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford, is brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas. This segment is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
Another day of practice wrapped up here in Oxnard, California, now joined by starting quarterback Dak Prescott. Dak, I mean, overall, you look at off season, it's been one where going back to 2017, it's really the first one you haven't had outside storylines. I mean, contract talk, the pandemic. You talk about, I mean, even you being an injury or having that injury back in 2020, what is it like to get back to football again?
Yeah, it's a blessing. Football's always been where I find my peace and always been a safe haven to me. So as you said, not having any other distractions around or having to answer questions about a contract or about an injury and feeling healthy and feeling in the best shape of my life, yeah, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be out here on this field and just in training camp with my teammates, doing what I love and trying to get better daily.
Now, you're entering year number 7. Has it really settled in yet? I mean, you just celebrated your 29th birthday. I mean, that you're no longer one of the young guns in the league. I mean, you're an established veteran and somebody who really a lot of people look up to.
No, 100% it's definitely set in. And when I look in the locker room and you talk to guys like Zach Martin and Terrence Smith, a few guys that were here before me, DeMarcus Lawrence, you realize how quick it turns over. So you have to reflect on the time when 6 years ago when I was just trying to make it out here and ended up becoming the starter to be 7 years later. Yeah, it's honestly where I want to be in life. Being able to be an inspiration to help young teammates to make sure that they're in the right space mentally and taking advantage of each and every opportunity. As I said, it doesn't last, so I'm blessed for every moment.
Have there been any conversations like that with some of the younger guys? I mean, whether they be rookies, second-year, third-year guys, that you've kind of been able to lay it out on the table and say, hey, listen, this is where you have your opportunity, take advantage of it?
Yeah, I think a lot of those conversations just happen naturally, happen at lunch, happen maybe at breaks in between practice with maybe another quarterback or a receiver here and there.
Last one before we wrap things up, but what would a successful 2022 look like for Dak Prescott?
Yeah, Super Bowl. When you play for this organization, when you play for this team, that's the goal. Each and every year you know that. That's what I put in my head. That's the only goal I care about, are wins, winning the division, and making a run in the playoffs to get to the Super Bowl.
There he is, Dak Prescott, taking some time with us. Thanks so much.
Yep, thank you. Appreciate it.
If you'd like to catch the entire interview with Dak Prescott, go online to DallasCowboys.com. When we come back, the kicking competition continues to heat up in Oxnard. Who has the edge between the rookie Jonathan Garibay and the veteran Lirim Hajrullahu?
This segment was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm just worrying about what I can do and what I can control. So whenever, like when we're working pre-practice or post-practice on snap, hold, kick, I'm just trying to make sure our operation is good. I know it's a competition at the end of the day. I really truly want this, so for me, I'm just trying to focus on myself and how I can make myself better so I can help my team be better.
There's Lirim Hajrullahu speaking on really some of the antics that go into this kicking competition. It's a delicate balance between him and Jonathan Garibay. He is the veteran, and as he talked there, it's brought to you by Sleep Number. It's certainly a balance for both of these guys. Alongside Britt Johnson, I'm Kyle Youmans, wrapping up Inside Cowboys training camp from Oxnard. Britt, this is a kicking competition that's going to play out as training camp and the preseason goes along. What have you seen from these two guys early on?
I mean, Mickey spoke to it very well yesterday on the show. If you guys did not catch the show yesterday, he basically said it's been like a ping pong match back and forth. One day, one guy does really well, next guy, the other guy does really well, and it's very like intense to watch because we haven't really seen a lot of consistency between either of the guys. And as a born Cowboys fan, a Cowboys fan from birth, I know this is media, but I am a born Cowboys fan. And I've seen a lot of games where it's come down to the wire, where it's, 3 and under points that we lose or win a game. So the kicking does matter. It's a huge deal. And to not have a consistent kicker is kind of troublesome. Again, I spoke with Garibay, and he said it is a big mental thing for him. And him being a rookie, and, this is his first chance out here, I will give him a little bit of grace because of that. So with that said, I'm still a little nervous about either of the selections.
I think anybody should be. When you look at the number of missed kicks in Oxnard, now it is a little bit concerning just because of the winds. At times it's swirling.
That's game day stuff, though.
Exactly. That's what John Fossil even spoke to in his press conference, saying that's Green Bay, that's New York. I mean, that's Washington. When you're playing these teams on the road, you're going to have to make kicks outdoors with some swirling wind. And at the moment, it's been back and forth. Both guys had better days on Thursday.
Absolutely.
Let's see if they can continue that into the weekend. Speaking of the weekend, we do have a special treat for all of you back home. Coming up on Saturday and 1 o'clock Central Time to 3 o'clock Central Time on TXA 21, the Dallas Cowboys practice will be streamed live. You can join a slew of former Cowboys, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback, writers. I'll be on there too, but the writers is who they come for. Rob Phillips, who was on the show a little bit earlier, and a whole lot more. Plenty to come through Cowboys training camp. For Britt Johnson, I'm Kyle Youmans. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow from Oxnard.
Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford, was brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas.